Today we're covering Whiterun and Solstheim in Skyrim and all of their unmarked locations. In case you haven't seen our series before, unmarked locations are locations that aren't marked on the map but usually have a name in the back files, or they're significant enough to the community that they deserved a name. This is our last episode in this series, so if you want to see all of them, they're right here on the channel for your current viewing pleasure. But we have more series in the works, so consider subscribing for more Skyrim content in the extremely near future. Also, if you guys find yourself enjoying the video, consider liking it. It helps out the channel and the video a bunch, and we always really appreciate it. Enjoy.
Hidden in the wilderness of Skyrim, southeast of Sleeping Tree Camp, lies an unmarked location known as the Bloodied Box. Tucked away in a cluster of bushes, an apprentice-leveled strongbox quietly awaits discovery. However, this is no ordinary treasure cache. A skeletal arm, frozen in a desperate grasp, reaches toward the box. The ground around it is stained with dry blood, a marker of past violence. What tragic fate befell the victim here? No journal, note, or relic offers any sense of clarity. It is a place where imagination fills in the blanks, where each Dragonborn who stumbles upon it is left to speculate. But the stillness of the site does not last long. Once the box is opened, two wolves, as if guardians of the forgotten dead, leap out to ambush the unsuspecting adventurer. This sudden burst of violence implies that the mysteries of the Bloodied Box are not meant to be disturbed. Interestingly, this location plays a subtle role in the Balance of Power questline, where the Dragonborn must confront the Saints bandit leader near the southern side of the box. Perhaps these bandits, drawn by rumors of treasure or tragedy, have claimed the area as their own.
Southwest of Sleeping Tree Camp, an ancient dragon mound sits in the rolling plains, shaped like a massive earthen henge. These burial sites scattered across Skyrim are remnants of the dragon cult's reign, marking the resting places of dragons sealed away long ago. To most, they seem like simple hills, but they hold a far greater significance, waiting for the right moment to stir once more. We've covered these extensively in our videos, so I won't dive too deep into the lore or the background. Northeast of Swindler's Den, another dragon mound rests on a rugged slope, hidden in plain sight. This is known as the Lone Mountain Mound, and it has remained undisturbed for centuries, a silent monument to long-forgotten wars between mortals and dragons. But like all mounds tied to Alduin, its slumber is temporary, waiting for the moment it will once again serve its dark purpose.
In the wilds of Skyrim, just south of Hilgrun's tomb, nature and danger converge at the awe-inspiring Fallen Tree Bridge. Stretching across a deep gorge carved by roaring river rapids, this massive fallen tree serves as a precarious bridge. Its gnarled, ancient limbs jut outward like skeletal fingers, as if warning passerbys of the peril ahead. Yet despite its foreboding presence, the bridge conceals treasures and mysteries that lure adventurers to its heights. The natural formation is a dangerous crossing point. Bandits often stake their claim to the strategic location, with one typically lounging on the trunk itself and another lurking near the stump at the gorge's edge. These opportunists rely on the treacherous drop below to deter would-be challengers. But for those daring enough to venture across, rewards await. Near the northern stump of the tree, hidden beneath its sprawling roots, lies an adept-locked chest brimming with random loot. Behind it, tucked in a shadowed recess, rests the illusion skill book, The Black Arts on Trial. This book, a trial record of an illusionist accused of dark deeds, whispers tales of manipulation and deception, fitting for such an ominous location. However, loot is not the only danger or intrigue here. Adventurers may encounter a necromancer's work. The vibrant otherworldly creature stands as a guardian to the secrets hidden near the bridge, ready to scorch any who underestimate its power. Further down the river, beyond the rapids, lies a grim discovery. A lifeless body washed ashore, a victim of either the deadly currents or the bandits above. Paths from both sides of the valley lead to this place, each step bringing the Dragonborn closer to the boundary between natural beauty and mortal peril.
In a shallow dip southwest of Swindler's Den, Fetid Pond is as eerie as its name suggests. The water sits unnaturally still, almost like it's hiding something beneath its murky surface. Scattered around the edges are massive mammoth bones that jut out from the mud, bleached by time and weather. Near the water's edge, a dead bandit lies among the reeds, his last moments lost to mystery. Among his belongings is a copy of Beggar, a book that teaches pickpocketing, an ironic touch considering he seems to have stolen nothing but his own misfortune. Whether he was taken down by the dangers of the wild or something more sinister is anyone's guess.
West of Broken Fang Cave, in a quiet and unassuming pond between the cave and the monument, lies one of Skyrim's most peculiar wonders. Emerging from the water's edge is the titanic, fossilized carcass of a giant mud crab, its petrified limbs outstretched as though frozen mid-battle. Time has long since turned this ancient creature to stone, yet its presence commands reverence. It is as though this forgotten titan watches over the pond, a sentinel from a bygone age. While the fossil remains inert, its legacy is far from dead. Smaller, living mud crabs scuttle across the shallow waters, as though mini guardians of their immense ancestors' final resting place. Despite their mundane appearance, these hardy creatures are territorial and will not hesitate to defend their domain. Adjacent to the pond, a smaller den holds further curiosities. Within, a skeletal figure lies crumpled near a sword and shield, perhaps the remnants of an adventurer who dared to explore the site. This location gains even greater significance during the Sacred Trials, a quest that calls upon the Dragonborn to hunt down Skyrim's legendary beasts. It is here that the guardian mud crab, a creature far larger and more fearsome than any of its kin, will manifest. Some believe that this colossal spirit is none other than the spectral echo of the fossilized giant, risen from death to once again defend its watery domain. Whether drawn here by curiosity or divine duty, the Dragonborn must contend with both the remnants of the past and the challenges of the present. In Skyrim, even a pond of mud crabs can tell a story older than the mountains themselves. High in the remote mountain ridges west of Drelis's cottage lies a moment frozen in time, a story of both triumph and tragedy. Here, in the shadow of towering cliffs and jagged rocks, the Dragonborn may stumble upon the remains of a hunter, his lifeless body sprawled across the cold earth. The scene speaks to the ruthless balance of nature in Skyrim, where predator and prey often blur into one. Who was the true hunter in this case? Was the beast ambushed and driven to desperation, or did it stalk the hunter in a cruel twist of fate? These questions linger as the wind whispers through the pines, carrying the faint echoes of a struggle now long past. Despite the death-ridden atmosphere, the hunter's body holds valuable spoils for those who enjoy scavenging the dead. And this is Skyrim, so we all enjoy scavenging the dead. Among his belongings is a copy of the Refugees, a skill book that teaches the art of light armor, perhaps a testament to this reliance on agility and defense in this rough terrain. His other gear, though worn and bloodied, may still offer some utility to the resourceful adventurer if needed at the time of looting. For every adventurer who conquers the wild, there are countless others who meet their end in its unforgiving embrace. The story of the hunter and his adversary is a cautionary tale, a warning etched into the stones and bones of the landscape.
West of Whiterun, near Bleakwind Basin, there's a quiet little spring hiding something straight out of legend. In the middle of the water, a skeletal hand juts out, gripping a sword like some tribute to the Lady of Lake from Arthurian myth. But in Skyrim, there's no mystical guardian, just a long-dead warrior whose name and fate are lost to time. If you take the sword, the hand crumbles, finally letting go after who knows how many years. All that's left are scattered bones sinking to the bottom of the pond, a quiet end to whatever story this warrior once lived. It's a cool little spot and Easter egg.
In the shadow of Skyrim's ancient past, overlooking the plains west of Fort Greymore and northeast of the puzzling Pillar Ruins, lies a forsaken altar known as the Necrophiliac's Bluff. Kidding, this isn't a Jeffrey Dahmer skit. This site is known as the Necromancer's Bluff. The scene that greets travelers here is grimly ironic. A necromancer sprawled lifeless across the altar is surrounded by the shattered remains of 3 skeletons. It seems the very forces he sought to control turned against him, his ambitions undone by the dark art he dared to wield. The altar is quite a display, scattered with alchemy ingredients as if remnants of an unfinished ritual. At its heart lies Liminal Bridges, a skill book on conjuration, showing the necromancer's desperate attempts to tear open the boundaries between realms. The book, a testament to his knowledge, now rests as a silent teacher for any who dare follow in his footsteps. Yet the dangers of necromancy are clearly etched into this place. The skeletons, perhaps former servants or thralls, appear to have risen in revolt, leaving the would-be master slain on his own altar. It is a classic cautionary tale one would expect and hope to find when playing the game. In bone and blood, a warning that those who toy with life and death may fall victim to their own creations. The landscape around Necromancer's Bluff adds further layers to the story. To the west, a solitary mammoth roams near a pond where mud crabs scuttle along the water's edge. This difference of serene wildlife and supernatural tragedy underscores Skyrim's complex beauty, where danger and wonder coexist in every corner. Northeast of the bluff, 3 unmarked graves lie in quiet obscurity. Who these souls were and whether they share a connection to the necromancer's ill-fated ritual remains a mystery, one lost to the passing of time.
Near the quiet village of Rorikstead, an ancient dragon stirs beneath the earth, waiting for the right moment to rise again. Buried for centuries, Nahagliv, whose name means fury, burn, wither, was once sealed away by dragon slayers of old. But during the events of Alduin's Wall, peace shatters as Alduin himself descends upon the burial mound, speaking words of power that shake the ground. In an instant, the seal breaks and Nahagliv bursts from his grave, reborn in fire and fury. For the people of Rorikstead, this isn't just some distant legend. It's a nightmare unfolding before their eyes. As the massive dragon takes flight, his roar echoes across the plains. I wanted to make this sound more epic, but it's really just another dragon mound.
Southwest of Fort Amel, on a desperate mountain pass that winds southward toward Iverstead, lie the remnants of an old Imperial toll station, a monument to Skyrim's long-lasting infrastructure. Once a checkpoint controlling trade and travel along this treacherous route, the toll station has fallen into ruin. The dirt path from Iverstead leads across a river and through the wooded eastern slopes of the Throat of the World, eventually revealing the rusted iron gate of the station, now toppled and half buried. Time and decay, however, are not the only forces that linger here. The Dragonborn, upon approaching the ruins, may be greeted by 3 ghostly wisps, silent and seemingly harmless at first. However, these spectral lights serve as tollers for a deadly presence that dwells nearby. Just uphill from the ruins, within a shadowy ancient well, resides a Wisp Mother, a being of frost and malice. The Wisp Mother is a fearsome adversary, capable of summoning more wisps to confuse and overwhelm her foes. Her otherworldly form, encased in an aura of icy light, implies that she has haunted these hills for many generations. Only the brave or foolish dare confront her. After a hard-fought victory, the Dragonborn can scour the ruins for hidden treasures. Among the crumbling stones and moss-covered debris lies a basket concealing the Conjuration's skill book, The Warrior's Charge, which tells of magical combat and summoning. Beneath the basket, a locked strongbox holds further rewards for those skilled enough to crack it open. Once a symbol of Imperial order and control, the toll station has long since fallen to the wilderness, its ruins reclaimed by supernatural forces. Southeast of Sleeping Tree Camp lies a curious site known as the Puzzling Pillar Ruins. Hidden along a rough path winding through the wilderness, this ancient ruin beckons the adventurous with its strange standing stones and an enigmatic puzzle of Nordic design. The stones encircle a caved-in structure, where a closed grate guards a spiral staircase descending into forgotten depths. At the heart of the puzzle are 3 Nordic pillars, each engraved with animal symbols: a whale, a hawk, and a snake. The symbols provide the key to unlocking the ruins, but the solution is not immediately apparent. To solve the puzzle, explorers must inspect the stones nearby. One symbol remains fixed to its pillar, while the other 2 have fallen to the ground over the years. By rotating the pillars so the symbols match their respective stones, the Dragonborn can align them with the arrow at each pillar's base. Once set correctly, activating the handle releases the grate with a satisfying rumble. Descending the now accessible staircase reveals a skeleton resting amid the ruins, perhaps the remains of a previous adventurer who failed to solve the puzzle. Nearby, a locked chest awaits, its contents a reward for the Dragonborn's ingenuity. Among the potential treasures is a copy of a hypothetical treachery, a conjuration skillbook that gives insight into Skyrim's complex relationship with magical summoning and deceit. Interestingly, this book will respawn if taken, though items stored within the chest remain safe, even for several in-game months, making this a rare, secure storage location. Who built this place and for what purpose? Was it a tomb, a treasure vault, or something else entirely? The local map intriguingly names the area Barley Dark Farm, hinting that the ruins may have once stood near lost settlements.
North of Rorikstead, perched on the ridge, stands a shrine of Akatosh. It's a peaceful spot, offering a stunning view of the golden fields below and the tundra stretching beyond. Despite its simplicity, the shrine holds a few hidden treasures. A copy of Kolben the Dragon sits nearby, and dragon scales can also be found here, possibly left as offerings to Akatosh, the dragon god of time. From this high vantage point, Rorikstead looks calm and untouched. It's a very calming location. North of Brokenfang Cave and east of Euchre's Monument, the crumbling bastion is a ruined fort that now serves as a quiet shrine to Zenithar, the divine of labor and commerce. The walls have long since collapsed, but the shrine remains standing. It's an isolated, peaceful spot where travelers and pilgrims might pause to reflect. At the center of the ruin, the shrine sits on a simple altar, surrounded by small offerings. 2 silver ingots rest beside it, likely left by merchants or blacksmiths hoping for Zenithar's blessing. A satchel nearby holds the belongings of a past traveler, and the speech skill book 2920 2nd Seed V5 sits on the altar. There's also a locked chest on the fort's rooftop, reachable with a bit of careful climbing.
West of Swindler's Den, secluded in the arid plains of Skyrim, lies a formation, an unassuming ring of boulders encircling a shrine of Zenithar. Unlike grand temples or fortified altars, this shrine is a minimalist ode to the divine of commerce and labor. Its remote location means that it may have once served as a sacred waypoint for travelers and merchants navigating the wilds, a place for prayer, for prosperity, and protection before continuing their journey. The shrine stands alone under the vast Skyrim sky, surrounded only by the quiet whispers of the wind and the occasional rustle of desert grasses. In contrast to Zenithar's usual association with abundance and wealth, the offerings here are more simplistic in nature. A single coin purse rests near the shrine, a small symbolic gesture perhaps left by a humble traveler seeking the god's favor. Though the site is sparse, its simplicity speaks volumes. Zenithar's blessings are often earned through diligence and patience, qualities that resonate in the barren landscape around the shrine. Here, amid the timeless stones, the Dragonborn can reflect on the virtues of hard work and self-reliance. There are no riches to be claimed, only the quiet assurance that effort and faith may yield greater rewards down the road.
North of White River, perched on the rocky bluff, stands the Shrine of Talos, a powerful reminder of the god's lasting influence in Skyrim. Despite the ban on his worship, offerings still gather at its base. Flowers, trinkets, and tokens left by those willing to risk everything for their beliefs. From this spot, the view stretches over the valley below, with the river winding through the plains. This shrine plays a key role in Jarl Elisif's quest, as she asks the Dragonborn to place High King Toryg's warhorn here in honor of her late husband. The task is more than just a tribute. It's a symbolic act, one that defies the White Gold Concordat and the Empire's concession to the Thalmor, who, by the way, actively patrol the area. If they catch you paying respects at the shrine, things can turn hostile fast.
Hidden just northwest of Dragon's Reach, beneath a small cliff outside Whiterun's protective walls, lies the Smuggler's Den. This makeshift camp, cobbled together by a group of opportunistic bandits, is both a hideout and a hub for illegal dealings. Despite its proximity to the city, the den operates under the nose of Whiterun's guards, its presence concealed by the disjointed terrain and the bandits' cunning. At first glance, the camp seems deceptively quiet. Crates and barrels filled with contraband, most notably several bottles of skooma, are scattered around the site. A weathered cooking pot simmers at the campfire, giving knowledge that the bandits have made this place their home, yet danger lurks in the shadows. Once the Dragonborn engages with the locked chest near the camp, 3 more bandits spring from hiding, intent on protecting their stash at any cost. Among the camp's notable items is a table holding a pickpocket skill book recounting the tale of a hero from ancient Solstheim. The story, perhaps a favorite of these thieves, is a symbolic nod to their life of stealth and opportunism. In the back of a wagon near the camp, a leveled battle axe lies waiting, a weapon left either as a trap or an overlooked piece of loot. The den also features a readable smuggler's note, insight into the bandits' operations and their reliance on skooma smuggling to survive. Meanwhile, the camp's lone horse, likely stolen, stands tethered nearby. After dealing with the bandits, the horse becomes rideable, offering us both a prize and a means of quick escape. Interestingly, this location shares its name with a smuggler's den found on an island in the Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard. Whether this is mere coincidence or a deliberate reference remains a mystery, but the connection adds a layer of continuity to Tamriel's history of smuggling and criminal enterprise. In the plains north of Sleeping Tree Camp lies a strange sight. A massive mammoth skeleton, its colossal ribcage looming like a natural monument to the brutal cycles of life and death. But a closer look reveals an even more peculiar detail. Nestled within the ribcage of the mammoth is a second skeleton, the remains of a human encased within the ancient beast's skeletal frame. This scene raises more questions than it does answers. How did this bizarre outcome come to be? Was the human perhaps trapped and crushed during a desperate struggle with the mammoth? Or did they seek refuge inside the decaying carcass, only to meet their end from exposure or starvation? The truth is lost to time, leaving only the bones that tell a fragmented story. The skeletal mammoth, its tusks now weathered and brittle, stretch outward as though preserved in a final act of defiance. Once a towering force of Skyrim's tundra, the beast now serves as a resting place.
East of Talking Stone Camp, downstream along the river, in the middle of a tranquil pond, A lifeless alchemist rests on a cluster of rocks, surrounded by the very nature they once studied. With a waterfall cascading nearby and Nirnroot glowing at the water's edge, it seems like they were drawn here in search of rare ingredients. But something went wrong. Their belongings suggest a life dedicated to alchemy. A leveled ingredient and a dagger rest with them, showing they were prepared for both gathering and survival. But Skyrim is unforgiving, even for the most skilled wanderers. Maybe they slipped on the wet rocks, got caught in the river's current, or were ambushed by something lurking nearby. Whatever happened, the alchemist has now become a part of the world they once sought to understand. Northwest of Fort Greymoor, you can find a skeleton, its bony fingers still clutching a strongbox. Whatever fate befell this traveler, they held onto their treasure even in death, unwilling to let it go. You'll usually find an animal prowling nearby, probably the reason why this guy is dead. Maybe they were chased into the hills, hoping the rough terrain would offer safety. Or perhaps the beast just claimed the area later, making it part of its hunting ground. Either way, the skeleton and the predator now share this lonely stretch of land. The strongbox can hold a bunch of random loot, and it's always different, so I guess we'll never know who this person really was.
Southeast of Swindler's Den, between Rorikstead and Fort Greymoor, two weathered stone columns rise from the rugged landscape, silent remnants of a long-forgotten structure. Known simply as the Two Pillars, these ruins stand in rocky defiance of time and nature. At their center, atop a large rock, rests a shrine dedicated to Stendarr, the divine of mercy, justice, and righteous might. The shrine's offerings tell of pilgrims who once journeyed into this desolate place. A flawless gem glitters atop the altar, left perhaps by a traveler seeking Stendarr's protection or blessing. A locked strongbox nearby holds further treasures, a reward for those skilled enough to unlock it. Most notably, the enchanting skill book Twin Secrets can be found on the altar, offering knowledge on the mysteries of magical enhancement. Though serene at first glance, the area is far from safe. The Two Pillars sit within a herding ground for giants and their massive mammoth companions. These ancient guardians of the plains roam peacefully, unless provoked, maintaining their timeless bond with the land. However, the true danger here lies in the roaming saber cats that stalk the foothills, their presence a constant threat to unwary adventurers. The nearby wilderness is rich with mystery. To the west, two additional unmarked shrines to Zenithar can be found, hinting that this region once held religious significance. Perhaps these shrines were part of a forgotten pilgrimage route, long abandoned and reclaimed by nature and myth.
Before we jump into Solstheim, I just wanted to say that we're only covering a handful here. We may do a full video on Solstheim in the future, but most of the locations here are pretty mid, so we just chose a few that stood out. North of Frostle and Haknir Shoal is a triangle of islands, and northwest of them is a dragon mound. Yes, another dragon mound, but this one's cool because it's on Solstheim. Maybe it's one of those eel-looking dragons that look like fell beasts from Lord of the Rings. Giant Nirnroot Island is a small unmarked location off the northeastern coast of Solstheim, directly north of Frostle. This rocky isle is home to something rare, 6 giant Nirnroot plants. These might feel familiar if you're an avid Oblivion fan, as they're a callback to the giant Nirnroot Easter egg, which is found in that game. We covered that in our 101 random Oblivion facts video. Obvious plug, but that vid is awesome, so you should go watch it. 3 leveled Spriggans inhabit the area, and judging by the dead Dunmer alchemist nearby, they don't take kindly to visitors. The unfortunate alchemist's boat rests on the shore, carrying a few small lootable items, a sign that they were likely here in search of rare ingredients. A search that ended in, well, you know, it's not good.
A rocky isle off the northern coast of Solstheim, directly north of Haknir Shoal, is home to a medium-sized Riekling camp, where a group of Rieklings have staked their claim, turning the island into their own little outpost. The camp is fairly simple, but like most Riekling settlements, it's scattered with makeshift structures, crude weapons, and whatever odd trinkets they've collected. Anyone wandering too close will invoke their little wrath. Rieklings may be small, but they're quick, aggressive, and always attack in groups. The island offers loot and supplies, but more than anything, it's another glimpse into the strange and territorial world of Solstheim's Rieklings. The Miner's Lament is a small camp west of Brodier Grove, marked by an unfortunate scene. A Dunmer miner lies lifeless beneath a tipped-over cart, seemingly crushed in a tragic accident while hauling gold ore. Whatever his plans were, they were ended here, buried beneath the very riches he sought. The site holds valuable resources. 2 emerald geodes and gold ore veins can be mined, while 5 loose gold ore pieces sit near the wrecked cart. A locked strongbox with random loot offers an additional reward, and some food supplies may be also found nearby. I'm sure you can make a good metaphor about greed being the end of you using this scenario, but I can't currently think of one. Gold Miner's Floodgate, also known as Usha's Camp, is located in the mountains north of Ashfallow Citadel. Following the stream will lead to a blocked wooden gate, but with some careful jumping around the rocks, you can slip past it and into the secluded camp. Inside, the tragic fate of an Argonian named Usha, I believe that's how you say the name, is revealed. His lifeless body lies near a table covered in empty skooma bottles, proposing that maybe addiction played a role in his downfall. A letter found beside him offers a glimpse into his past. Near the stream, a large plate sits on the ground, likely used as a makeshift gold pan, and several pieces of gold ore rest nearby, probably his desperate attempts to find fortune.
Dusty the Siltstrider is a remarkable sight on Solstheim, found just west of Tel Mithrin near the riverbanks. She's the last known Siltstrider on the island, a rare remnant of a nearly extinct species. Her owner, Revis Sarvani, discovered her as a cocoon in Vardenfell, after the eruption of Red Mountain wiped out most of her kind. He raised her to adulthood, but now she's too old and weak to travel. Dusty remains here with Revis staying by her side until her final days. For those who visit, Revis offers some insight into Morrowind's history and the tragic fate of the Siltstriders. There's also a copy of a short history of Morrowind that can be found at the camp for even more context. Dusty herself is what devs call a movable static rather than a creature, making her a permanent fixture of this landscape. Even from a distance, Dusty's low, mournful cries can be heard echoing across the southeastern end of Solstheim, a reminder of a world that has nearly faded away. Thank you guys for watching. We have a lot more Skyrim content on the way, so definitely stick around. Remember, enjoyed time is never wasted time, and we'll see you in the next.